We have this thing. I have this group page on Facebook. It's called The Path to 20 Million. And some people ask me, why, what is that? Like, what are you talking about? 20 million in income? No, bad news. As a real estate agent, you're not likely to make 20 million in commissions this year, okay? Lisa still thinks she will, but Lisa, that's a pretty big number. That's a lot of houses. So what we try to do with the path to 20 million, it's the path, it's the road. You're all building a business, hopefully. You're all building a business. You're going to walk down this path, and along this path to building your business, you're going to encounter a lot of things. You're going to have to build skills. You're going to have to adopt strategies. You're going to have to create systems. You are, or you won't get to where you're going. And some of you are getting really frustrated because you thought you could just skip down the yellow brick road and it was just singing a tune all the way to the Emerald City. It is not. Just like Dorothy, you're going to meet a whole bunch of wacky stuff on the road, okay? And I want to help you be prepared for that. Now, you may say, I don't want to do 20 million in sales. I don't care. Whatever you want to do. You might say, that's not enough for me. I want to do much more. Okay. Dwayne, I did like 250 million. Okay. So I know the road times 10. I can help you down the road. But you are going to travel the road no matter who you think you are. And you're going to run into problems. And you're going to have to or not. You can let them stop you, or you can resolve them and move on. So I want to take you down the road today. Doesn't mean you have to do 20 million. Doesn't mean you have to stop at 20 million. And I've tried to kind of put them in the order of what I think you're going to bump into. This could change a little bit depending on what your business looks like. But kind of the things that I think during the progress of your career that you're going to bump into and have to solve for. Make sense? So this works better today if we're really interactive. So you have full permission to interrupt me. Please do, okay? So we'll get started, and here we go. We're just going to take a stroll down the road. You are first, to get started in your career, to grow your business, you will absolutely have to solve for two things. You will have to define your target audience. And that is not your sphere of influence. Everybody has a sphere of influence. You are not going to make a living off of it. And I don't care what a social butterfly you think you are. It is somewhere between 2 and 6 transactions a year. If your social network is unusually large, then you might do 5 or 6 transactions a year out of it. You might, depending on what's going on in their lives this year. You might do nothing. That is why the average agent in Atlanta sells about 3 houses a year. And if you ever wonder why that is, it's because they're just selling houses to their family and friends. They're just selling houses to people that call them and say, hey cousin, can you help me get my house sold? But they don't have a target audience. But most other professionals do. Lawyers do. They define their scope of practice. Doctors do. They define their scope of practice. I have a good friend of mine who's a dentist. He doesn't do root canals. He says, I could, but I don't. I'm like, well, but that's a lot more money than just doing cleanings. He goes, no, it is, but I don't specialize in that. So I refer it out to somebody that does. Make sense? If you do not define your target audience, then you will just sell houses to your sphere of influence. And if you want to sell 2 to 6 houses a year, that's fine. You will reflect the city average. You'll do about 3 a year. That'll be your average. Okay? And if you just want to do 3 a year, then just do it with family and friends. And I don't quite know what you're doing here this morning. You don't need to put all this effort into it. Just hang out at home and wait for people to call you. Some of you through your ambition, which I admire, make your target audience so big you have no hope of implementing it. So I was talking to one of you this morning, and you were telling me about the CE class that you took last night and how it was on branding. Okay. And my first response is, well, that's a bunch of bullshit. Okay. I don't know who you think you are, but you're not Coca-Cola. You're not Nike. You are not going to create a personal brand awareness with 7 million people. You're not. Okay. Watch out on your target audiences. If you get them too big, well, I'm going to work with seniors. I'm the senior specialist. Well, great. Then all you have to do is get your message out there to 7 million people to get the seniors in there, and then do it frequently enough to create awareness on their part, which is why the beer and insurance companies run constant commercials at you. That's all you have to do. How many millions, how many hundreds of thousands do you have to spend on this? For most of us, we need to get our target audience really tight. Start here, start real small, and grow it out. If you cannot speak to who your target audience is, you are going to suffer. It's the first step down the road. You're not going very far down the road. Listen to me on this. You are not going very far down the road if you do not have a very defined target audience that you can speak to in a moment's notice. And I go, wow, well, Lisa, you really know what you're doing. Some of you have multiple target audiences. That's fine. Some of you have been in the business long enough and have model. Lisa has about 5, I think. Lisa's greedy in a good way, but she has all. She's ambitious. You're not going any farther down the road till you do this. And if you're struggling with it, please come talk to me. Because what I'm going to preach to you is, right? So Ami and I just had this conversation last week, and right now her heart rate just went up because she has no idea what I'm going to talk about. But by the time you came in and you wanted to do geographic farming, yes. When you left my office, were you going to do geographic farming? No. Were you frustrated during the early part of the conversation? Yes. Yes, she was. She was actually getting agitated with me. Were you still frustrated by the end of the conversation? No. Did you have some hope and energy? Yes. Yeah. Because my point with her is, there's a lot of things you're good at. That's not one of them. And she's like, hey, it could be. I'm like, well, it could be. Do you live there? No. Do you have access to data? Do you have access to the people's information that live there? No. But I can, by will and determination, I can get it. I go, no doubt, you could. But I can think of dozens of other things that you're really good at naturally that would be so much easier and less time consuming, right? And we were able to get to it. If you're struggling with this, you're supposed to struggle with it. You're supposed to. It's supposed to be hard. But you're not going any farther down the road until you get this. Once you get it, you've got to map out an appropriate strategy for that group of people. The same strategy is not appropriate for every target audience. You better get it right. And I'm here to help you with this. But if you try to implement a strategy like Bob and David are calling for sell by owners, I wouldn't implement their strategy on a networking group of people. Okay? It won't work. It'll actually do the opposite. If you get the wrong strategy with the wrong group of people, you'll go backwards, not forwards. Make sense? Okay, once you get those things right, you probably want to engage the right coach. Now look, there's a lot of stuff out there. I'm just going to say this to you. The thing that most brokers and most coaches in this industry have in common is they've never done what you're trying to do. Or they didn't do it very successfully, but they still have bills to pay. So they go get a broker's license, or they come up with a coaching program. Why? Because I really don't want to do this shit. I just want to tell somebody else what they ought to be doing. You know people like this in your life? They don't have their shit together, but they are awesome at telling you what you ought to be doing every day. Lee Trevino, the old golfer, had a saying which was, I'm not taking a lesson from anybody that can't beat me. And the thing that I think is so funny about that is in his prime, there were probably only 2 people on the planet that could beat him. I'm not taking a lesson from anybody that can't beat me. If you haven't been there and done it, shut up and get out of the way. Watch out for most of these coaching programs out there. Bob got involved in one of them, and he quit the day what?
I found out I sold more houses than my coach.
He found out he was in a big coaching program. The guru that ran the whole thing is a smart guy, knows what he's talking about, but he can't work with all these real estate agents independently, so he hires people to do it for him. So he staffs Bob out. And Bob comes in my office one day because he just found out that the guy who's his coach lives here in Atlanta. The coaching's by phone. And he's a real estate agent here in Atlanta. And he sells a fraction of what Bob sells. Did you want to coach with that dude anymore? No. And then the A word. Look, if you're working with a coach who doesn't offer you some semblance of accountability, that is worthless to you. If I do my job right, you aren't going to like me sometimes. Did you like me a lot after we got started last week? No, you didn't. She was getting highly agitated. If I do my job right, you won't like me sometimes. If you like me all the time, something's wrong with you. I'm not that likable. Hey, look, there's got to be somebody in your life. It doesn't have to be me, but I can do this with you because I am you. There's got to be somebody in your life that understands your business well enough to sit right across from you and go, that's a bunch of bullshit. That's call avoidance. That you're not right about that. No matter how right you think you are, no matter how well your bullshit sells at home and everywhere else, it ain't going to sell with me because I've been there right where you are. And I know it. I'm the king of bullshit myself. So you aren't snowing the snowman, okay? And I'll sit and argue with you. And I don't care if you like me because I'm not interested in being your best friend. I'm interested in being an effective coach with you. And that involves accountability. That involves saying, you're wrong sometimes. And when you're right, encouraging you. We keep walking down the road. Folks, I don't know what I thought when I got into this business. I think I thought I get my real estate license and people will call me when they want to buy or sell a house. I think I actually thought that. I was that stupid. Probably a better word is I was that naive. I thought that's just how it worked. Real estate agents, you don't do anything. Bob, you just put a sign out. You hang a lockbox on the door. Anybody can do that. You're so grossly overpaid. And then I went to all the trouble. Some of you are nodding your heads. The new ones in the room, Ashlyn's back there going, yeah, I just got my real estate license and thought, well, there's a bunch of dumbasses selling real estate. I can do what they do. And the truth is, no, that is true. You don't have to have high degrees of education to do this. It's not complex. You don't need advanced degrees. It's not that hard to get a real estate license. It's just hard to do. You knowingly, or if you're anything like me, unknowingly, picked one of the toughest occupations you could pick. I love Manuela to death, and I can tell you with absolute certainty, and Manuela is going to be one of the top real estate agents in Atlanta in a very short period of time. Not as short a period of time as she thought it was going to be, because from the outside, real estate doesn't look that tough, does it? No. Is it harder than you thought it was going to be?
It's really not the stuff.
It's incredibly hard. It's just not complex. If you don't have a strong work ethic, if you think you're doing this part-time and making full-time money, you're batshit crazy. And I'll tell you that. And I actually find that insulting, that I have to bust my ass every day, show up early, work late, and other people think they can just la-di-da through this and make full-time money. I find that insulting, that you can just casual this. And those people junk up our industry. And they are what makes consumers go, you're dumb, stupid, and lazy. No, the people that are full-time that are busting their butt in this, they're not. But there are enough casual part-timers to damage all of us. This is not easy, folks. If you don't have a strong work ethic, if you aren't showing up early and working late and busting your ass all day, if you like to chit-chat and casual it and treat this place as a social club, you're going to get your clock cleaned. Why? Because there's other people that are sitting right around you right now that are serious. And they want their money and they want yours. And they're coming for it. And more than ever before, the consumer can identify who's who. Executing on the basics. There are some basics, and you're going to have to master them whether you like them or not. Hopefully you like them. But if you master them, we're halfway down the road, you're going to be in good shape. Past clients. And I've got others up there. I'm going to tell you what I mean about that. Almost 90% of past clients, the last time they'll ever speak to their real estate agent is at the closing. Is that shocking? We're going to take that check like a thief and get out of there as fast as we can, and we're never going to talk to those people again. And I say, no, one day, 1 week, 1 month, and then every 6 months for the rest of their life or yours, whichever ends first. And when you are sitting at your next closing, I want you to look across the table at the customer on the other side of the transaction and absolutely know this. Their real estate agent's about to abandon them within the hour. And I want you to adopt them. And I want you going to Dwayne and saying, we have agents that aren't here anymore. Like, I'm pretty good at that. I get an A+ at getting the people that aren't a good fit for us the hell out of here. Go to Dwayne and say, hey, they had past clients that they developed while they're here. I want to adopt those people. And you call them and you say, hey, Joe, I know you bought your house through Ellen. I'm not sure Ellen's in the industry anymore. I wanted to reach out to you and know that you've still got a real estate agent that's here to help you if you need it. And he's going to end that first call going, I'm not sure what that was, but then I'm going to start staying in contact with him. And within 3 months, I am Joe's family realtor. And he doesn't even remember how it happened. Adopt other people's. Because folks, around you right now, at your table, just look up and down your table, 3 out of 4 of them are going to abandon their clients right after closing. And most of you are one of those people that have abandoned your clients and haven't spoken to them, and you feel bad about it. And I'm going to say, then don't let the sun go down on you today without reaching out to them. Well, it's been too long, Mike, and that'll be uncomfortable. Here's how it's not. Manuela, ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, Manuela, it's Mike Pruitt over at Century 21.
Okay.
I just wanted to call. I owe you an apology. See, watch, I can make myself cry if I want to. This is skill, folks. Can you make yourself get choked up about something you're not really choked up about? I owe you an apology. It was my job to stay in contact with you, and I didn't do my job. And I just wanted to offer you an apology. And I'm just wondering if you'd give me a second chance to do a better job.
I will, Mike, yes.
Who would say they wouldn't? Somebody in the room. Anybody wouldn't give me a second chance? Now, Manuela, after we hang up the phone, your husband says, who is that? And what do you say?
My favorite real estate agent.
All's forgiven if I ask for the forgiveness. Don't let the sun go down on you tonight. You have some apology calls to make because you were wrong. That's why you're apologizing, not because you shouldn't, because you were wrong. It was your job to stay in contact with people that actually like you. They actually like you. And we don't do that. And adopt everybody else's clients that have been abandoned too. FBOs and expireds. I know some of you don't like this. I'm not talking about this being your target audience. I'm saying this. Jeff, you live in Roswell? Jeff, give me a good reason why there's a for sale by owner in Roswell that you don't talk to. There's not a good reason. You're a professional realtor in their town and they have a house to sell. Do you think y'all should have a conversation? Well, I don't like talking to them. I don't care. Who cares whether you like it or not? This isn't middle school. Nobody's asking you to eat your vegetables. You're a professional. Jeff, if there's a for sale by owner in Roswell, you need to have a conversation with them. Does that make sense? If there's an expired listing in Roswell, you need to have a conversation. Do you need to have a conversation with them if they live in Douglasville? No. Maybe Mary Ann could have a conversation with them. Mary Ann, where do you live?
Winston,
Where's that close to?
Douglasville,
Douglasville. Is there possibly a for sale by owner in Douglasville?
1 or 2.
Is there any reason you can think of why you don't have a conversation with them?
Just did this morning.
Good. Hey, I'm not saying this has to be 3 hours out of every day. It could be if that was your target audience. All I'm saying is if there's a for sale by owner or an expired listing within 5 miles of where you live and you don't have a conversation with them, I'm kind of confused as to why. Well, they might be mean to me. My God, what are you, 13? Get over yourself. These are just the basics, folks. 1 video a day. It's free. It's free. It's free. And people are going to do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. And this is how you let people that you don't get to see all the time, especially these days, get to know you, like you, and trust you. 67% of all communication's nonverbal. You got to let them see you. Well, I don't like how I look on video. I don't care. I got bad news for you. That is what everybody else in the room already thinks you look like. But I got a tip for you. Hey, everybody in my general age bracket, move the camera further back. I tell Rob all that all the time. I'm like, dude, that camera needs to take 3 steps back. I look better. The farther away I get from that camera, the better I look. You know what? I'm going to look better on that camera over there by Bob than I do on this one. Now, if you're 30 and you're pretty, good for you. A little millennial turd. Folks, you got to get over yourself. You do. Your ego's keeping your business down. And you have got to master these basics. And until you do, you ain't going any further down the road. You can want to all you want. You're not going to. 3 handwritten notes every day. Bob, go ahead and spit on the floor. Look, I know it's old school. If you did 3 a day, it's 15 a week, it's 60 a month. You're talking 600 or 700 little, well, I don't know what to say. Hey, David, hope everything's going well in your world. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Mike, stick my card in, mail it. Do I need to talk slower? You want to write that down? No, you don't need to write that down. Just say hi to people. My God, some of us, most of us, are so highly analytical that we want to do a study on this of what I say in a little handwritten note card. Well, it takes so long. Hey, Dave, hope things are going well. Take care, buddy. See you again soon. Mike, card, envelope, send. 5 phone conversations each day with your sphere of influence. My wife's already left, so I can do this. My wife, Jane, thinks everybody she's ever met in her life is her friend. I don't. I always say, she's not your friend. And my wife gets mad. Yes, she is. Don't say she's not my friend. I'm like, Jane, have you talked to her in 6 months? Well, no, but she's still my friend. She's not your friend. She's somebody you used to know. Oh, my wife gets so mad about that because she wants to believe that everybody, the people she went to high school with are her friends. They're not. You haven't talked to them in 30 years. They're people you used to know. You want them to be your friends? Call them. Okay, so let's do it. Well, I don't know what to say. Ring, Dave, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Dave, it's Mike Pruitt.
Oh, hey, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Hey, look, I don't know why, but I was just thinking about you this morning. You popped into my brain. I thought, damn, I haven't talked to that guy in forever. I just wanted to reach out and say hi.
Well, thank you. It has been a while. What you been up to?
What's so hard about that? If you need me to write it down, send me a message. I'll write it down for you, okay? Hey, dude, what's up? Do it any way you want to. Call them. It's a basic. Social media engagement times 4. What do I mean by times 4? All 4 major platforms. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Well, I don't like Twitter. I don't care. You got to get over what you like and what you don't like. Nobody gives a damn. Do it anyhow. Newsletters. I throw that in there just so Bob will spit on the floor again. I know it's old school. I know it's junk mail. I know it's going from the mailbox to the trash can. I get it. Why is it going? Let me ask it differently. Who is it going from the mailbox to the trash can with? People that aren't interested in selling their house. Right. But who is it not junk mail to? People that want to sell their house. Have you ever noticed, have you ever gotten a new car and then noticed that you see that car everywhere on the road? Have you ever noticed that? It's because what you focus on expands. You're just aware of it now. There aren't all of a sudden 1,000 other people that went out and bought that same car. It's just that you're much more aware of it now. When people are thinking about selling their home, that's not junk mail now. That's actually relevant to me. Who do you want it to pay attention to it? To people that want to sell their house. So don't get so wrapped up on it's junk mail. It's junk mail to people that you aren't trying to do business with. The question is, do I favor a printed mailed version over an electronic version? I do, and here's why. Because hopefully you're a modern agent and you're already hitting them electronically through emails and social media and maybe texting campaigns. So what I want, this is the sensation I want people to have. And some of you are so deathly afraid of this. Well, they're going to feel like I'm stalking them. You are stalking them. They should feel like you're stalking them. I want them to feel this. This is why the basics are so important. You pick up your phone, there I am. You turn your computer on, there I am. You do a Google search, there I am. You go to your emails, there I am. You go to your mailbox, there I am. Open your front door and see if I'm standing there. I am stalking you. A robust CRM, probably the most valuable thing you'll ever own in this business. Everybody you know on the planet in there with as much information on every person as you can possibly get. And I know this is a gigantic chore. And the longer you wait to start building it, the bigger and bigger it'll get. And some of you have just given up on it because it's too big. It's a project. And the project will never be finished. But start on the project a little bit every day. Don't lock yourself in a room and spend all day working on your CRM. Just carve out 15 to 30 minutes every day and start building it. Well, when will I be done? You'll never be done. It's an ongoing project, but probably the most valuable thing you'll ever own. It would be if you ever entertain the fantasy of, I'm going to sell my business one day. If you don't have a robust CRM and you can't show me your rate of contact and engagement with the people in there, you'll never sell your business. But if you could show me a book of business and robust engagement on a regular systematic basis, I might have an interest in buying that. Maybe. Building a follow-up program that you're proud of. Guys, as you move down the road, you are building, you're doing the basics. You've done the first 6 stops down the path. You are building a pipeline. You need to have a method of contact, of follow-up with people that like you're really proud of. I call it a 20-step follow-up campaign. You went to all the effort to create these prospects. Don't let them fall by the wayside. Let's just do a little show of hands and help me out on this because I'm really interested in this. Who's ever spoken to a seller prospect only to find them to list with somebody else later down the road? That's on you. That's on you. Was your follow-up campaign so robust? Look at that. That was almost the whole room that have gone through the disappointment of driving by a house and seeing somebody else's sign in the yard and go, see, they told me they were going to wait till summer. They changed their mind. Where was your follow-up program to keep you top of mind so when they go, oh, well, we changed our mind now? Jane and I are a classic example. 2 years ago, I would have told any of you, we're not buying a house till October. Greg, I think we bought the house at the end of February and moved in April. Yep. And you would have said, well, their buyers are liars. They told us they weren't doing anything until fall. Oh, we changed our mind. Well, you should have called me. You're the salesperson. I'm the customer. You call me. You stay in contact with me if you want to make money off of me. If you don't, then I'm going to do business with somebody that does. Are you proud of your follow-up campaign? And if you're not, get proud of it. And if you're not sure how to do it, come see me. Pretty important. There was a time, Bob, when I was your age, I had a Honda Accord, and if you know somebody like this, hopefully it's not you, but you get in their car and the entire back seat's filled up with fast food bags, right? Like, damn, what do you eat at McDonald's? Yeah, pretty much. And then I just throw it in the back seat. I wasn't that person. I had, old man, Joe, you and I are going to sync up on this. I had what in my back seat? CDs. Who said that? Our little millennial sitting up front. Joe, what did I have in my back seat? Cassette tapes. But I had every real estate trainer in the industry, I had their cassette tapes. And that's what I listened to while I was in the car all the time. I was nerdy like that. But I had educational voices around me. I also had motivational voices around me all the time because I ain't that good. I ain't that good. I don't wake up motivated and inspired every day. Some days I don't want to get out of bed at all. Some days I don't feel like it. Anybody ever said that to themselves? Well, I know what's in my schedule, but I don't feel like it today. I don't care. We just keep coming back to, I don't care. What are you, 13? It doesn't matter what you feel like today. You're running a business. You're building a career. So how do you get yourself motivated when you ain't motivated? That's the real question. On your good days, you're fine. You don't need anything. You just don't have those many days. So how do you get yourself motivated when you ain't motivated? I find motivational voices. For me, it was like Tony Robbins. I like Darren Hardy. I like Les Brown. You find your voice. Music. Huh? What? What? James Brown? Okay. Whatever turns you on. You mean Bobby Brown. I get me some my prerogative. It did it for me. I don't care. What does it for you? Surround yourself with that so that on your days when you just don't feel like it, you can change that on purpose. Folks, each of these stops, until you master this, until you incorporate this into your business, you ain't going any further. And I don't care, you can set whatever goals you want this year. You ain't going any further. You're going to run out of motivation and education. You're going to get capped out. That's as much business as you can do at your education and skill level. You can't do more. You can want to, but you can't. So a lot of you, when we sit and I say, how many houses you want to sell this year? And you say 25. I say, okay, do you think you have the experience and skill to do that? Oh, absolutely. And half the time I'm sitting there going, not a chance in the world. You might have the experience and skill. You can't keep yourself motivated and inspired every day. You can't be consistent. You can be good on your good days, but some days you just don't feel like it. And too many of us, when we don't feel like it, we just don't do it. And Jay's always my classic example. Jay, how many workouts do you do every morning? She goes to 2 different gyms every morning. I can hardly get my fat ass out of bed to do one, and she's already done 2. But I refuse to believe that she just wakes up every morning inspired and motivated and charged up for the day. There have got to be days when you go, oh, just please tell me you do feel that way sometimes. You do, good. Weekly schedule. I know most of you resist this because you just kind of want to wing it. You got into real estate so you could do what you want, when you want. You just want to be a free spirit. You just kind of want to hang around the house and do chores and go to lunch with your friends and just kind of be a little butterfly. That's fine. You're going to sell 3 or 4 houses a year. You might sell more on a good year when you just happen to know more people that are moving. You just got lucky last year. Your social group just happened to have a lot of people that were moving. And you know, it's in your gut. You know it. You can taste it. It ain't going to happen this year. I just got lucky last year. If you don't have a weekly schedule, you're just winging it. You're just making it up every day as you go. You'll stop right here on the road. I guarantee you. You won't be able to do more even though you want to. Create a written weekly schedule. And time management. Time management is absolutely critical. There is a law of economics. Notice they call it a law and not a suggestion. It's not a suggested part of economics. It's the law of opportunity cost. Everything you do has a price. Being in this room right now, we didn't charge you a fee to walk in here, but there's absolutely a cost for being in the room. And it's what else you could be doing right now. And some of you are trying to do that. Right, Rip? You're going to have to go further down the path, you're going to have to master time management. And it's not natural. You're going to have to learn some skills. We can talk about it. I can help you with that. I did too. I got to the point where I couldn't physically do more. And then I had to learn how to adjust to that and learn some new skills and strategies, or you will not go further down the path. A system of delegation. The number one problem with delegation is not the delegatee, it's the delegator. It ain't Christina and Nicole and Rob and Dwayne and Karen. It ain't them. It's you. You suck at delegation. You want people to read your mind and you want them to be you. If they were you, they would be you. Delegation's not natural. You're not going to be good at it naturally. And too many of us just assume that I was just born with all these talents. You are not. You're going to have to learn how to delegate effectively to people, or you will not go further down the road. If you don't have an assistant, you are one. And that's why we have help. But you have to learn how to use help. They can't read your mind. They don't know how you want it unless you tell them. Building the right team of professionals. You need a great lender behind you. Greg, would you be willing to be that person?
Absolutely.
You're going to need a great closing attorney's office behind you. Ellen, would you be willing to be that person? That's why they're here. You're going to need an accountant that you can trust and turn to for guidance and advice, more than just does your taxes. You're going to need a great banker. You're going to need a personal relationship at your bank. You're not going down the path any farther if you don't have this. You're going to need a great photographer. These people make you look good. You're going to need a great contractor. They make you look good. You're a resource center for your customer. It is no longer your job to help people find the right house. That's not, if you think that's what you're here for, you're going to be unemployed. Nobody needs you to do that. They need you to help solve the problems that come along with the real estate transaction. And watch this. You don't think I'm right about this? I want you to look up and down the row where you're sitting, because some of these people already get this. And again, they want their money. They want yours. David, Bob wants his money. He wants your money. Neva, David wants his. He wants yours too. And he's going to build these out so that your customers go, David solves more problems for me than you do. I'm going with David. Home inspectors, home warranties, pest control. And when all this starts to work, you're going to need a good financial advisor to help you manage the money you're making well. If you don't have this team of people behind you, if you don't trust them and rely on them to guide you, to make you look better than you actually are, you ain't going any further. Man, I should have put this first, because there's nobody in the room that's not struggling with this, especially the parents in the room. Especially the parents in the room. You can't help anybody else until you help you. If you don't have an exercise program every day, I'm glad you're not my mom. If you aren't watching what you eat put inside your body, watch your caffeine, sugar, and salt intake, I'm glad you're not my dad. If you're not drinking enough water to where you feel like you're drowning every day. How much water should I drink? Until you think you're going to puke your guts out. That's how much. If you're not doing these three things, I'm glad you're not taking care of me. Because until you take care of you, you can't help me. You will not be able to manage the stress and anxiety that comes with this business. You won't. You'll be a bad real estate agent. You'll be a bad wife, husband, father, mother. You will. You won't want to. You just didn't manage yourself first. And I know, especially for the parents in here, that's a really hard concept, because your natural instinct is to take care of everybody else. Selena, your natural instinct is to take care of Waylon first. But when you get on an airplane, what do they tell you? You put the oxygen mask on you first and then the child, because you can't help the child if you pass out. And that is true in your real estate business. You ain't helping anybody. And you're not helping your customers or your family until you take care of you. Your website. Century 21 is going to give you a website. It sucks. They're trying to give a website to 130,000 agents across the world for free. I wouldn't expect, it's a starter kit for websites. But once you start building your business, see, we've gone way down the road now. Now you're getting right up against 20 million in production. You need a website to drive people to calls of action. But more than anything, they want to know who you are before they meet you. They're stalking you too. They're stalking you too. If you don't think they are, you're crazy. In today's world, we advertise for jobs. What's the first thing I do when somebody wants to apply for a job? Oh yeah. I rule 99% of the people out just right there off their social media pages. No, that ain't happening here. The people, you think you're worried about them thinking you're stalking them. They're already stalking you. It is today's world. Creating a marketing plan and budget. Okay, look, we're to 20 million now. If you have mastered each stop, and Rob, for those, would you post this presentation for anybody that isn't falling asleep on me yet?
Yes.
Okay, good. We are all the way down the road to 20 million, and for the first time, I start talking about spending money. And Bob, without his permission, I'm just going to use him as an example of this. For the first 5 years of his business, and he's never done less than 12 million. That was the first year. And every year after that, it's 12 to 20 million. And for the first time last year, we start saying, add a zero. Add a zero. Once you get here, now you start spending money. The video you just did, what did I tell you to do with it yesterday?
Spend $1,000.
$1,000, Rob. Get it out there. Everybody needs to see it. But he just did 23 million in production. Okay? I didn't say it to somebody, Manuela, you just started, you're in your third month. I didn't say spend $1,000 on a social media post, did I? No. Don't spend any money. There's too many organic things you do. She's earlier in the path than he is. What I love about Manuela is that pisses her off. She wants to be right there next to him or slightly in front of him after 3 months. That's great. I love you for that. Good luck. No, Bob, spend some damn money. But now you're all the way down the path. You have the money to spend now. Now you can start creating, planning, and budgeting a marketing plan. But you don't need to do that earlier. There's too many organic ways to do it. Do the other things first. And then when you get to this point, then you start running Facebook targeted ads and Google search ads and YouTube ads and geofencing and newsletters and radio and TV. Bob, we're coming for the billboard this year. But now, once you're there, now you start spending money. Okay? Lisa, you had a great year last year. You got a little change in your pocket. Now you can spend some money, right? Leanne, now you can spend some money, right? I hope this makes sense. This is what we're talking about. This is how you become the person that can achieve the goal. This is how. Each step. Don't get the steps out of order. Don't start spending money on your first step down the path. Do them in order. If you're in your first month of real estate, you don't need to be worried about your website. That ain't your problem. You need to be worried about the basics first. Not just focused on the things that are fun and that feed your ego and stroke it. Most of the stuff when you're first getting started and you're early on, it's not fun. Like I give Bob a hard time now. I'm like, 3 hours worth of calls today? No. He doesn't have to do 3 hours worth of calls. How about 4 or 5 years ago?
5 hours.
5 hours. Right. And you do that so that 5 years later, you don't have to do that anymore. Make sense? Questions? See, this is how I minimize questions. I take it so long. You're all sitting here going, oh God, please nobody ask a question. If you want this, we're going to post it to the path. To workplace. You've got a dedicated video editor now. Now I want you to tell me why you're not making videos, because we just took I don't have time to edit them excuse away. Okay? And we're going to keep building resources for you. I've got another big announcement that I'll give you next week. For now, let's go back to work. Ready? Great.